What's happening, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Here are 12 quick and very useful tips that will definitely help you with your experience in Path of Exile 2. A lot of people, including myself, get these things wrong, but in this video, I'll make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes. Please consider liking this video, turning the bell on, and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this one, especially if this one helped you out. Let's get started. Starting off with a bit of an obvious one, but extremely important, is that proper positioning and dodging are very important, especially early on. Smashing the keyboard and just running around will not get you very far in PoE 2. Depending of course of your class choice, you want to watch your positions to both land your abilities properly but also be able to deal with the map or boss mechanics. The same applies to dodging. Dodging in PoE 2 is very similar to Elden Ring. Mastering the timing and understanding the hitbox of boss attacks will help you dodge your way to some clean fights. Tip number 2 is instead of opening vendors normally and then selecting what you want, you can speak to them by clicking Ctrl left click on PC, which will open their primary window. For example, Finn and Renly have only one window, which is the buy and sell. Ctrl left click on them will open that window immediately. For NPCs such as Una, who has 2, you can use both Ctrl left click and Alt left click depending on which one you want. Ctrl left click is the primary one and Alt left click is the secondary window. Another tip relevant to this is that you can sell items much faster than simply dragging everything by holding onto Ctrl and click the item you want to sell. Tip number 3 is do not waste your gold into buying Scroll of Wisdoms. These scrolls are found everywhere, and once you progress a bit further into the game, they will become increasingly useless as you will unlock an NPC called the Hooded One who will be able to identify all the gear in your inventory for free. You will get this guy pretty early on in Act 1. And regarding the scrolls though, you should simply have 2 or 3 of them in your inventory just in case you get a good replacement while you're out and about. Speaking of the Hooded One, if you messed up with your skill tree or you want to change something, then this guy can also refund your skill tree. The good thing in PoE 2 is that if you refund a skill point, you don't lose all progress points up to that point. You simply pay a fee for the refund and you can change any point in any part of the tree. Next tip is about selling, disenchanting, and salvaging your items. First things first, always identify your items before selling them as it increases its gold value. White items that don't have a socket or quality on them should be sold. Any other color that doesn't have socket or quality on them should be disenchanted. If however you have a lot of orbs and you don't need more, you can consider selling them as well for extra gold. And lastly, if any item regardless of its color has quality or socket on it, then you want to salvage it. Speaking of disenchanting and its orbs, here's tip number 6. Don't hold on to the orbs of transmutation or augmentation for too long. They're pretty common, especially if you disenchant your items. You should always check the item level of the gear you get while progressing through the game, and when you get a high item level piece, you should use these orbs to empower it. Tip number 7 is regarding your gear. You always want to check back with the vendors you have at whatever encampment you're on. The gear they sell resets very often and you might find something really good that can power spike your gameplay pretty nicely. Another great option is to gamble some gold away for a potential good piece. I would definitely recommend gambling a bit whenever you have the extra gold, as you can get some pretty great replacements for your gear. And if you hit the jackpot, that piece might last you for a very long time. Spend some gold on it, but don't overdo it. You can always check with the vendors for a guaranteed upgrade or craft them yourself with the orbs. Tip number 8 is make sure that you collect the extra items and kill the optional bosses throughout the whole map. Some of these optional bosses provide you with permanent upgrades which can be very valuable. When you open the map, you will see a few icons around the whole map. The ones you want to focus on are the skulls with the plus sign on them. Those are the bosses that give you the perma upgrade. If the icon is grayed out, that means that you've done it already. If you're struggling with gear, gold, or resources, you can reset the map that you're fighting at any point that you want. Simply go to a waypoint, hover over the one that you want to reset, and Ctrl left click on it to reset. This way you can keep farming either XP or drops from bosses and maps. Tip number 10 is when progressing or farming these maps and bosses, you can also utilize your second weapon set so you can pick up potentially 2 more weapons if you don't want to teleport just yet. I know it's not a lot, but it's still 2 extra weapon slots. In PoE 2, you can find uncut support gems and then right-click them to equip. What you will see is the default recommended window with just 9 options. You can untick the recommended option below so you can see everything available and choose the one you feel that matches the most. And the final tip is within the options menu. Here are a few quick changes that can really boost your gameplay, either visually, aesthetically, or make you feel more comfortable. If you're playing on a PC, consider trying out the WASD movement option instead of the mouse. WASD gives you more control, especially on bosses. Sure, in the beginning it might feel a little bit weird, but trust me, it really helps me move and dodge so much better. Next, you can go to the interface option and scroll down. Enable always show sockets so you know which items to salvage or which to equip. Then enable show life mana levels, which will have these little numbers on either side showing you how much HP and mana you have at all times. Then you can enable show flask buffs and aura icons, which will be visible in the top left of the screen so you know what you have on. I also like to have a mini life bar above me and my enemies, which feels more of an MMORPG and helps me keep track of things a little bit easier. You can also enable show monster resistance icons, which will help you later on to plan out your attacks accordingly. And lastly, you can play around with the cursor color and size to make it a little bit more visible and comfortable to control. Let me know in the comments below which tip helped you out the most, and if you have any of your own, feel free to share them down below. If this video helped you out in any way, do make sure to hit that like, turn on the bell, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Since you're still here, here's another video that you might like. See you there.